So ever feel like no matter what you achieve, you feel like you're stuck in this loop? And I call it this like loop of doom. It's always like the same disappointments that show up, the same frustrations, the same types of relationships, the same, why is this always happening to me, kind of thing. And that's because you're not in your center. And if you're not in your center, you have a center, okay, and I want to really talk about this today. If you're not in your center, life, and I'll keep repeating myself, life will keep bumping into you until you come home back to your center. I'm not talking mindset. I'm not talking fixing. I'm not talking healing. And you're about to see why a lot of those concepts are actually the reason why they don't even work. So what I'm talking about is the law of nature that is literally pulling you back to the place where your success, your relationships, your vitality naturally lives.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The thing that has me wanting to share this today, because I was walking behind this lake that we have back here, and I was thinking to myself, wow, I really need to share about the Core Center on YouTube, because I used to crave artificial highs. The high vibing, right? We get all fooled with this whole high vibing thing going on out there. And so I was really stuck in these artificial highs and then these very heavy lows. And I was never seeking for my core center, my neutrality, my peace, that peaceful joy. And that joy where it's so anchored that no matter if you're feeling melancholic or anything like that, it's like that joy is there, it never goes anywhere. And so here's the thing, like what goes up must come down, and the world is very addicted to highs. Like it's feeding you the next thing to chase, and then it's watching you crash when it doesn't deliver the fantasy. And then get this, that same world system offers you a solution for your crash. I swear, we're living a lovely mess, I call it. Let me use an example. So the world, society tells you, find the love of your life, right? And then you've made it. Then you find the love of your life, and then you realize, wait a minute, this is not some Disney happily ever after. So now what do? You hire a marriage counselor to help you with it. All right? That's what I'm talking about. Or like, let's use business. Okay, hit your money goals, hit that business milestone, then you're going to be free, then you're going to be joyful. Nope. Now you're caring more, you're taking care of people more. Your revenue is all these highs and lows, right? And you're freaking out. So now you hire what? A business coach, right? And the same thing plays out in what? Parenting, relationships, in your body. And I remember with my body, after binge eating, because I hit a low with my body, then I would what? Go look for all of these solutions, fad diets, everything else, not realizing that the problem is these highs and lows, highs and lows, highs and lows, and it's so friggin' exhausting. If we do not move out of that loop of doom, we're doomed, okay? We can feel it. Doesn't matter how much success you achieve on the outside, you feel it, because it is not success that's coming from your core center, from your truth, from your soul alignment. If it doesn't come from that, you're carrying it. And you could feel the weight of it, all right? So let me teach you something very cool today, because I want you to know what the center is, what your center is. This should be everybody's goal, not chasing the next big thing. So your power, the life you actually want. It is not in the highs or the lows. It's in your core center. And I'm not talking about abs. So when you were a baby, you were in your center naturally. And Monroe Institute came out with a study that in the first 18 years of a baby's life, 99% of those babies operate at a genius level. By the time those children reach 5 years old, only 20% operate at a genius level. By the time those children reach 18 to 21, only 1 to 2% operate at a genius level. So you all were born operating at a genius level. So that's where your intuition lives. That's where your genius lives. That's where your soul people meet you. That's where your natural success finds you. This is so important. So I hope you can see how important it is to come back home to your core center. So now let's use this example over here. I have got this little drawing here. So we all know that we live in a land, a world of duality, of polarities, right? And so in this example, I'm going to use the high side and the low side. You could be like, when it comes to polarities, just for anybody that doesn't know, like we live in a land where there's always sides. If you've noticed, everybody's taking one side and is against the other side. So there's a masculine side, there's a feminine side, there's a cold side, there's a hot side, right? And then there's the in-between. So to keep this simple, we're just going to use the example of the high side and the low side. So what ends up happening is that when you drift too far towards, let's say, the high side or too far towards the low side, balance forces will kick in. This is a law of nature. When there's an imbalance, something will come in to bring it back into center. Whether it's nature, whether it's human beings on this planet, we are all being guided back to center. So most people, they don't return to center. They fight life when life is trying to move them back to center. And if life could talk to these individuals, they would say, psst, you want to be in your center. You want to be home. Stop fighting me on this. All right. And besides, like, I don't know if you guys noticed, but nature is stronger than you. So you will lose that battle eventually. All right. So now let's use an example here. So when you were a baby, right, you were in your center. And as you grew up, why did you move out of your center? Because as you grew up, you took on survival patterns, I call them. So what's naturally you is the center. So you took on patterns. And so you took on these patterns so that you could feel like you belong in the environment that you grew up in, so that you could get attention, so that you could simply be loved. So we abandon our center. We abandon our true nature. And I talk about this in all the videos on YouTube. And instead, you adopted these survival patterns. And so that, and you're holding on to these survival patterns because it's become normalized for you to have these survival patterns, but you're not living from your center. And that's why like life is bumping up against you to bring you back to your center. But then but us humans, life bumps up against us with these challenges and we're like, why are you doing this? Why is this happening to me? This is so unfair. And life's like, oh, can you just like work with me here? So for me, as a kid, for example, I had to earn my worth. I had to work for the roof over my head while my parents did little to help us. Nothing was free, they said. We work and we bring in the money, you take care of all the chores and all of it, right? So that survival pattern that I inherited, and this is not to blame my parents. My parents inherited these patterns from their parents and so on, right? So the survival patterns that I inherited, which was work for your worth, pulled me out of my center. And I normalized it. But here's the thing, it's hard on your body because your body needs you to be in your center. Your vitality is in the center. Do you hear what I'm saying? Because your body needs to be in its center. And I attract so many people that have been hit with heart attacks, strokes, health issues, chronic pains, all of the different things. And so your health, your vitality, your radiance, your magnetism, your youthfulness is in your core center. Most of us, though, we inherited survival patterns and we're in our survival patterns. And it's so hard on the body because it's not natural. You've normalized these survival patterns and they feel like you, but they're not you. And your body remembers what is you and is trying to pull you back to center. Okay, so you get the point. So now, fast forward, I'm an adult in business. I attract a lot of relationships, love relationships, that sort of thing. And guess what? I give them my energy, my money, my time, everything I've got. And guess what I get in return? Very little. Very little. And I couldn't see the pattern. Like I literally couldn't see the pattern. I just kept thinking like, why do I always attract the same kind of people like that? And so in my TED Talk, right, I share how humanity is this giant web of people. And in that web, we're being pulled, right, in different directions. We're being pulled towards our purpose. And in that pull movement, we bump into one another. We bump into love challenges, money challenges, business challenges, relationship challenges. Here's the thing. Every bump is life, the power of life. Some of you call it the universe. Some of you call it God. It's the invisible energy, okay? And so I call it life. But every bump is life showing you you're off center, that you're off center and to come home. So just like nature, when there's a buildup in nature, there's a storm, right? And the storm, what does it do? It restores balance. Same for us. It restores balance. Balance meaning the center, brings back to center. So once I decoded why life was bumping into me, it was easy to let it go. I returned to my center. And I need to share this because, for example, I used to believe in Santa Claus. And so I wasn't living in my center believing that there was a Santa Claus, obviously, right? So that was a pattern. And people were bumping up against my pattern and saying, "You believe in Santa Claus?" And I was like resisting. How dare you, right? So I'm fighting life. He does exist. Well, it got a little more painful. And then I finally started questioning it. And then I finally when I started questioning it, I let it go. I saw it clearly. Okay, Santa doesn't exist. I came back to my center. That's it. So here's why I'm sharing this example. Because once I saw it, it naturally let go, and then it brought me back to center. And it opened me up to something new in life. It's really that simple. I didn't need no therapy. I didn't need no mindset. I didn't need no healing. I didn't need anything of that. I just needed to see. And then naturally seeing it, released it, and brought me back to center. So here's the magic. Also, once I got back to center, I was no longer attracted to those same people. I wasn't attracted to them anymore. And on top of it, I was no longer attracting them either. That's because the loop had completely ended. So for you right now, what is life? What are the balance forces of life bumping up against? Are you ready to decode it? To break the loop you're in? And instead of fighting life, let's see what it's trying to show you so that you can let it go. And once you let it go, you return to your center. So I'm offering a End the Loop for Good. It's a private decoding experience for entrepreneurs and leaders who are done repeating the same patterns in parenting, love, work, health, and life, that are ready to actually go to the core. And once you see it at its core, literally, that's your only job, is to actually see it at its core and then let it go. And normally the letting go is pretty easy once you see it, truly see it. So there's 10 spots available. This is normally $2,222, but for these 10 spots, it's $444. And look, this includes a clarity portal so that we can find the loop fast. It includes 2 private sessions, one to dissolve and then one to lock it in. And then it also includes integration audios so that we can keep the shift anchored. So it's time to come to your center. You'll find the link in the description. Don't forget to subscribe, because I plan on coming out with a lot of other really cool videos to share with all of you. And I'll see you guys in the next video.